will work together to serve the citizens of Selwyn District, to always use our gifts of understanding, courage, common sense, wisdom and integrity in all our discussions, dealings and decisions so that we may solve problems effectively. May we always recognise each other's values and opinions, be fair-minded and ready to listen to each other's point of view. In our dealings with each other, let us always be open to the truth of others and ready to seek agreement, slow to take offence and always prepared to forgive. May we always work to enhance the well-being of the Selwyn District and its communities. We will. Thanks, everyone. One apology for the meeting today from Councillor Grant Miller. Happy to move that, Shane, and seconded Bob. All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. I've had no identification of any extraordinary business for today's meeting. Is there any conflicts of interest that councillors have that aren't already recorded, Deborah?
Tab 21, and public excluded.
Great, we'll note that then.
Yeah, Nicole may be the same, and and Malcolm.
Deborah and Nicole and Malcolm for a PX matter. Great.
I have conflict around the alcohol one.
Alcohol. Okay, thank you.
And for myself too, Mr. Mayor, tab 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shane and Phil. Cool, thank you. We'll now move on to our shout outs for Shay. That's each meeting just acknowledge the work of one of our staff who's done an outstanding job that's also been recognised in the community. Shay works in our economic development space and has done a whole lot with the tourism operators and as part of a team that does stuff there too. And Claire, I know, has done an excellent job working with them, but Shay, particularly yourself and the feedback that I've received working with our tourism operators, bringing international advocates for Selwyn here and helping them sell the best of our district is hugely appreciated. And the feedback from the operators is that Selwyn District Council is now in a place of facilitating change and growth and helping the operators work together. And you're a team, you're a force of your own. And I want to say thank you for what you do, not only for them, but putting Selwyn on the map at Trends, the work that's gone into hosting the morning tea that was there, the advertising that goes on through Christchurch, and acknowledging that actually the biggest opportunity for our district is the 500,000 people that live right around us, and then visiting Selwyn and experiencing the things here is really great. So thanks for what you do. And I've got some chocolate here for you. Round of applause. And we'll move to our public forum. We've got 3 public forums today. Speakers, Tom Gulliver, and then following that will be Banks Peninsula Walking Festival, and then Selwyn driver licensing. So Wanda and Andrew are here for Banks Peninsula, and Vaughan is here around Selwyn driver licensing. So Tom, if you'd like to come forward and take a seat. I think, Tom, you've already circulated a photo to the councillors, so that's on your desks, which will be spoken to. Our public forum, we allow about 10 minutes for the conversation. So if you just press the button on the right-hand side of the microphone and say what you'd like to us, and then maybe some questions that come as a part of that. Thanks.
Well, I've lived in all my life at Tamutu, Segmary farmed, and apart from the last 4 years, I've sold my place, but I've still got a block of land out there, so I'm still affected by this situation. Well, I'll just start off this. We're looking at a massive, ruinous but preventable disaster of inundation by sea, flooding and or rainfall combined. Council staff refused to discuss ready-made solution. Well, as you can see by that map, we've had ongoing 4 times, I think, it's been dug out in the last 2 years. The same, you see along the crosses I made there, along the beach. And the creeks, the beach has been coming in over years, 0.5 metre or so. And the beach has actually become part of the creek now. And it's filled in 4 times, we've dug it out 4 times. Well, I don't know. And so anyway, it's been, as you can see where the 2 big tiers are, they're the major trouble spots. With the tiers on the right, the sea actually, last time in March, was actually coming there and fair pouring down 200 metres. Filled it in with sand, leveled right off. Where the first tier on the left, that completely filled off, 3 metres deep. blocked in. My stands all dug out, I was piled up, ready to be watching again. And there's a solution which I put the Kate Atwood. You can see how I've got circles and lines across them. There's an old creek bed across there that goes, a big creek bed that goes across 200 metres away from, and it's 200 metres upstream from the problem. Goes across and then it can go across the road. And there's another old dry channel there, creek, you know, sort of dry creek bed thing, which joins up exactly the same spot. So after 2 winters of building them 3 times, I decided to take it upon myself to do something. So Kate App would come out, throws a suggestion. We got one word, no. She refused to discuss it. So I've been through about 10 or 12 different areas in the last 10 months. ECAN, or most of them didn't do anything about it, I don't think. Finished up writing to the mayor. Well, he obviously handed it down to Kate Atwood again. And she's saying, as part of the coastal and sea level rise, which is a bit of a cop out, we know it's that, but we know it's intrusion, but it's been coming a half metre a year. The timber work down at Cooper Lagoon further down, it's 30 metres, it used to be at the top of the beach 60 years ago, now it's 30 metres down the beach, so that tells you it's been coming a half metre a year. And the whole beach has been coming in, but now there's a place, but it's absolutely shot. And there's an easy solution, the job's half done. But I don't know, I've tried.
I understand. Thank you. And that there was are you aware of the problems with that? And that in terms of Rolleston, it doesn't have enough complexity when you're driving around.
My first question would be whether we're referring to the same routes. I mean, I'm not totally familiar with the routes, but as part of this, I've been working with Jeff Roy, and I understand that the routes that he's made me aware of were designed in 2021. So they are quite recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, don't get me wrong. I think we're doing absolutely amazing. I wonder whether that's something that you just to add to your thinking too, is like the reason why the complexity happens in Christchurch is then they have variable speed rates, they have traffic lights, stop signs, give way signs.
But we've got all of those things.
Yeah, we do now, but we've
Yeah.
only had them for about 3 years.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, there was no street lights.
Yeah. Oh, and this is definitely a dynamic issue. Like if you look 20 years ago, we didn't have the population to even consider having testing here. But as the town continues to grow, as the district continues to grow, it's an issue that needs addressing, and we could continue to grow the things necessary for this to be looked at.
Yeah, I'm just saying you might need to consider that as part of your campaign. The other question that I have is do you know, you may already have the answer to this, does AA provide any practical testing in New Zealand and Christchurch and Canterbury now?
No, they don't, but there is ways that can be worked around. So my understanding of it is that VTNZ has the contract with Waka Kotahi to do practical driver license testing.
Yeah.
The AA can do the administrative side of anything. So you could walk into the AA and make the booking for the Class 1 restricted and then sit it with a VTNZ person. But what we're looking at is Waka Kotahi can arrange a contract where someone working for VTNZ is appointed to work out of here, and they use the AA as their administrative office.
Thank you.
So there is a contractual arrangement that can be come to.
Thank you. Sophie.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very well spoken. Great slides. Thank you very much for coming. I'm just wondering, so you've obviously been speaking to, was Jeff, wasn't it, from Waka. Was there any other feedback that he gave you in terms of what you need to do next? Like, was this part of his suggestions or anything like that?
So the idea behind coming to council was really to get strong community support to call Waka Kotahi to action. Because in Jeff's eyes, this is something that could go before the appropriate team in Waka Kotahi. And if they were to realise how easy a solution could be come to, it could be just done, snap. But it's about Waka Kotahi wanting to prioritise doing it. And so for them to prioritise doing it and not just say that's a great idea, but we're going to put that on a pile of other great ideas that a working group will look through and do the research. We need very strong support from our whole community that this is something that we want for our district. And if we call on Waka Kotahi, like this is what we want for our young people, then they have to really consider it. It's about the strongest case, basically.
Fair enough. The other question I had was, so I'm getting from what you've said and also from what Nicole was saying, there's obvious peak times that you'd be wanting somebody to do that sort of service. So I guess my question there is, it's not really a question for you, but I guess it's an observation that there may or may not, if everybody's trying to get the same slots, having somebody here may not actually clear up all the issues. But if they at least had somebody to cover part-time at peak times, would that, is that something that you'd be willing to build into?
Oh, it could be. Like, it's a case of looking for let's not let best get in the way of better solution here. Like, there's a lot of issues with the driver licensing system in New Zealand, and a lot of it is being addressed through government review, but it's about doing what we can to make it better, which may be even 1 day a week is better than no days a week, like anything that can be done.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Shane.
Kia ora, Sam, thank you very much. And tēnā koe, Vaughan. Great submission, mate. That's fantastic. Just acknowledging you as the national leader for Kaitiaki o Ara. Sad. You do present a compelling case, and based on the data that you've presented to us today, and given the remoteness of Selwyn and the barriers that our young people face to get licensing, I basically really want to apologise for getting to this point, not having the facilities or the infrastructure in place. You pointed out that we've got 1,418 more high school students in Waimakariri, 2,135 more than Ashburton, and we're roughly the same size as Waimakariri and 3 times the size of Ashburton. the fact that there's been $86.5 million over 5 years to make access to licensing more accessible in the budget. Yeah, I just want to apologise for not making it accessible now for our young people and for everybody, really. So I'm in favour of supporting council's submission and your submission. And look, elections are in 2 years, mate. I think you make a fantastic councillor. Kia ora.
Thank you. Vaughan, I don't know if you've thought about franchising the VTNZ store of your own. You could start up a business and run that here. There's a part here you've asked about a letter of endorsement, and I'm happy to sign something that would support this initiative to happen here. That's the feedback I'm hearing from the room to make that happen. I will also work with James Cagle, who is Waka Kotahi's key connector with councils, and so that will then be lifted through the range of spaces that Waka Kotahi makes decisions internally for themselves, and we'll do that with them following this meeting. So I do want to thank you for raising it. There's some stuff that is a little more complex, like a office space. We obviously have existing contracts with people in space, and that might not be as easy as me writing a letter. But I think there's an openness from the room to try and figure out a way to serve our people better around driver's licensing. So thank you for raising it with us today.
Thank you.
And we'll obviously staff you're already connected with here, and we'll continue with that connection.
Thank you.
Out of time. We're moving on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's a public forum. We'll come back to matters raised in public forum if there's anything outstanding at the end of the meeting. Confirmation of minutes. Moved Malcolm, seconded Sophie. Thank you. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favour say aye. Aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. Confirmation of draft annual plan minutes. Moved Malcolm, seconded Phil. Any discussion on those? All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. The next item is confirmation of minutes of the extraordinary meeting. Moved Lydia, seconded. Sophie, happy to second that. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. My report is on tab 9. There's a number of things I've highlighted there of my work over the past month, including a wee diary of events that have been attended. I really want to thank councillors that have turned up to community events on my behalf when I wasn't able to be in 2 places at once. And just note that last week the Future for Local Government review landed their report, 17 recommendations. I appreciate the conversation we had this morning around those recommendations and how we want to continue to engage with our neighbours around what serving communities better might look like into the future. Some easy things that we would like to see as a follow-up to that discussion was the 4-year term and making those sorts of substantial changes, but a more stroke of a pen. And some of the harder stuff is around the relationships and the boundaries and the systems that go on behind local government. But that as a council, we are wanting to be leaders in that space and to help form our own future rather than leaving it to someone else to make those decisions. To support that discussion, I recorded a podcast called Unpacking FFLG, which you can listen to if anyone would like to understand more without reading the substantive report. It's available wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'll send a link out to councillors to that. I'll move that you receive my report. Was there a seconder? Malcolm, thank you. Is there any questions on the report? Shane.
Kia ora, Sam, thank you. Just the public matters under investigation, I presume we're circling back to the completed flooding Sandsbrook Taumatu.
We're going to come back to Taumatu at the end.
Okay.
Conversation.
Thank you.
What page are you on?
That's 39. And just, I do have a question regarding the mayor's report. Whenever I find it. Yes.
So the flooding at Taumatu isn't really completed, to my mind.
No.
I don't know what everyone else feels, but there's ongoing conversations with ECAN and Tamutu. Tamutu's looking to host a meeting down there with all parties, including neighbours to the properties. So I think that's still a live event, and probably with today's presentation, there's obviously some follow up to that needs to occur as well. David?
Yeah, the next step is to have our attendance at that meeting, which is scheduled within the next 10 days. I just lost the day. One thing I'd be interested to know is how long the flooding's actually been happening, if this is a new phenomenon or whether in fact it's been taking place over a number of years. But that'll all be revealed at that meeting.
So maybe because we're talking about that now and we're thinking about what happened in public forum, if we just touch on that and then we close the loop. So the public forum met today on the flooding at Tamutu. I think we need to hear from staff around what's gone on, seek a report back, probably to the transport and infrastructure meeting, and that will be following the meeting down at Tamutu as well, where we will have met with those parties and there can be consideration of that. David, is that?
Yeah, that is the appropriate time.
Councillors, are you happy with that being the approach to that public forum? Elizabeth?
My only concern is he's saying that it's a really timely thing. I don't know if we're able to do anything a little bit more urgent, because if that land floods and it gets salted, they won't be able to grow anything on that for basically ever.
I think the other thing is, and one of you asked the question today, has the presentation been made to Environment Canterbury? Yeah. Because that is the rightful place for that presentation that we had today to be made.
I think based on what we've received, staff will review the decisions that are made. It's their decision in the end around what happens in a particular culvert or drain. And so they will do that, and that'll be reported back. Any actions don't need to come back to us for approval, or otherwise we'll let the experts get on with that. Deborah?
Sorry, just the chair of infrastructure and transport. I would also like in that report a presentation from ECAN staff with regards to what their responsibilities are, and I would like to invite ECAN staff to actually attend our meeting and do a presentation on this particular issue, because this inundation issue with regards to climate change is not only going to affect these properties along the coastal areas. We have other low-lying areas around Te Waihora and the Rakaia huts that are also going to be affected, and we really need to do a service to our ratepayers in that particular area by having a comprehensive overview.
Thanks, Deborah. And that will rely on your relationship with Ian and John and the councillors, inviting them here, working with Murray to have the invitation through staff back to that meeting.
Yeah, but the request of Deborah's will be preceded by the meeting that's being facilitated by Tamutu. It's happening prior to your meeting.
Thank you. And Murray?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple of quick comments. So obviously we acknowledge the hardship that must be felt watching your property be inundated. This is a natural process and will continue to get worse as sea levels rise and the coastal migration inland occurs. I just want to make a point that staff has spent significant time on this matter, including meeting with property owners. I'd like to repeat that we have spent a lot of time on this matter, so just that could be recorded. We're working with Environment Canterbury and other partners, and there is a meeting tomorrow with Environment Canterbury to walk the drain in that coastal area and to meet with property owners. And then, as David mentioned, at a later stage, there'll be another meeting with Runanga and DOC as well.
So just because we might be waiting for another meeting to get a report doesn't mean that there's, actually lots is happening all the time in the background on this matter. So thank you. Thank you, Murray. So that closes off the Tamutu conversation.
So Sam, just for clarity, that matter under investigation will stay open until the report comes back? Okay. Yep, happy with that.
And you had another question, Shane, on something else.
Oh, thank you. Supplementary. Page 64, 19th of June, LGNZ presidential candidate Zoom debate held online. Yes, Sam, should you be successful in becoming the president of the LGNZ, what does that mean for our districts here in Selwyn and the council? What would that mean?
I think it's a huge benefit to the Selwyn district. It means that we end up in a space where the conversations that are affecting local government nationally, we're at the front of and a key part of and become a driver of. It'll mean partnership with people. I don't think you can ever do anything alone. So there'll be lots of opportunities for the exposure and success of our district to influence things that need to happen elsewhere. And also we can learn from others. If I'm involved in that space, I'll be exposed and see so much else that's going on good around Aotearoa, and we'll look to bring that back here as well.
Good, very good. All the best.
Thanks. You moved my report then. Thanks, Shane. And Lydia, any further comments? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Declare it carried. I'm moving David's report to the end of today's public agenda, and so we'll hear from him at the end of this meeting. But we now move to the Chief Executive's Statement of Intent report, which is on tab 11, page 71.
Mr Mayor, thank you. Councillors, I'll take this as read and treat it as a machinery motion. Most of you are aware of the annual process that we have to go through to adopt statements of intent. These have been done with the respective parties involved. With respect to the Central Plains Water Trust, I got a note this morning from my counterpart in Christchurch City to say they this morning had passed that report. So happy to answer any questions, but as I say, take it as machinery otherwise, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Mover Bob. Seconded Sophie. Any discussion?
Yeah.
All those in favour say aye. Oh, sorry, Shane, you did have a question there.
Yeah, happy to support, but I've got a number of questions.
Oh, have you? Okay, sorry, I'll back off. Your turn, Shane.
Thank you. CPW Trust, page 57, statement of intent.
Sorry, page.
57.
Hang on, let me get there.
Um,
Right, 57 is the first page, yeah.
maybe it's not. Yes, maybe it's not. A statement of intent is reviewed by who? Is it full council? Is that what we're doing here today? Just given there's so many levels of the relationship, has there been any significant changes, updates or recommendations to the SOI, and how are they reflected? Where can they be found? Page 60, tenure length and is succession planning in place? Page 62, has annual sustainability report been presented to the council?
Sorry, Shane.
Hang on, can we just take that one?
Sorry.
Yeah, 'cause I'm-
don't match up with.
Well.
You're losing me. So
Sorry about
first-
that.
First, your
Don't want to
first
make it easier for
question
you,
was
like-
around adoption.
Yes.
The adoption is by council today. That's
Today.
what you're in the process of doing. It
Mm.
was developed in conversation between the joint working party members. So that's a committee that Lydia chairs, Lydia
Yes,
Nicole,
congratulations.
and two counterparts in Christchurch, and attended by the chair of the trust. The second question was in respect to significant changes. No, at the request of the chair, it was pretty much reinstated. Your third question was around sustainability report that was received by the joint working party last week. Yep, sorry, now question 4.
Yep, page 65. I think it's appendices. Doesn't all of the statements of intent don't seem to reflect the Trusts Act amendment, the new Trusts Act in 2019. I thought that would be a document or an act that should be reflected in each of the trusts.
Yeah, they haven't all been updated, and
Okay.
in fact, CPW Trust is being updated, Shane, at the moment as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Those are the end of my questions, but congratulations to the councillors appointed. Congratulations to Councillor Glidden on her chairpersonship. Thank you.
cheers.
Thanks, Shane, for that. It was moved and seconded. All in favour, aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. The next item is the adoption of Selwyn District Annual Plan for the year ended 30 June 2024. Firstly, that we adopt the plan and then delegate authority to make alterations of minor effect to correct errors. Mover and seconder for that. Thanks, Malcolm. Seconder. Sophie, thank you. Just start by saying thank you, Kelvin and the team and David and everyone else who's been a part of making this happen, which starts from building from the long-term plan, thinking about how things have changed over time, projects that have been delayed or otherwise weren't able to be achieved in the previous year, and trying to do the best for our community through the coming 12 months. Thank you to the staff in this building and in our community centres and currently out on our roads who have contributed to this. Thanks to the community who have gone through and told us through submission what they wanted to see, and thanks to councillors for listening to that. And there's been a few changes that sit in there of minor nature, reflecting some of that feedback. Kelvin, I'll hand to you if there's some highlights you'd like to share about the report and where we're going.
Yeah, just cover some highlights. First of all, I want to thank my team and colleagues around the council for the work they've done on this. It's not an easy task to knock a plan out, and we've got an LTP approaching, which is an even bigger task. And secondly, just thank the community for the engagement that did occur through the process. It's really useful to get that engagement. Key highlights, really the rate increase for a typical urban home has been held at 5.9%, which is lower than the cost of the inflation at the moment. It has been a challenging time to get to that number given the high costs we're facing. I just want to draw the councillors to the attention of the capital program, which sits at 184.5 million. That includes a number of carry forwards from the current financial year, so there's around 47 million being carried forward. Operating costs, 177.4 million. That is an increase from the LTP, but we are facing significant inflationary pressures through cost of goods and services and staff cost of wages. And there was a couple of matters which were not quite in the LTP last time around, where we approved the 10-year contract with Rural Water Services, which was at a higher rate than assumed in the LTP. However, on the other side of the revenue side, revenue is also up. We're just under the 200 million mark, so we'll be there reasonably shortly. Population growth, a large driver of the increases. And we've also been fortunate to receive some additional government funding through the government's Better Off funding in phase 1, at least, noting that there'll be no further stage 2. And Sam has covered off the next steps here. We'll once adopted, we'll go to the next paper, which is setting of the rates, and we'll be uploading the approved adopted plan onto the website as soon as possible after this.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions here, Deborah?
Thanks for the report. Just with regards to page 120, transport projects, we actually have Goulds East Madison Road roundabout, and the projected budget for this year was 2,167,000. Yet in the preliminary report, it says that this was helped fund by a developer. Is this the same project? And if so, why is it in there as a project if it's already been completed?
Just to defer that to Murray or Murray.
I don't know, what page are you talking on, Deborah?
Page 120. And we actually go to the projects. It actually says that this roundabout has already been completed with the assistance of the developer. So basically, we go back to 107
You need your microphone, sorry, Deborah.
In Rolleston, the council, in conjunction with a local developer, has designed and constructed the new Goulds Road, Shillingford Boulevard roundabout. This has connected a key transport route to the southern area of Rolleston. Are we talking about the same roundabout, and has it been completed? And if so, why is it in the projects for this year?
Deborah, we'll find an answer to that, but this would have been helpful if you've got a question like this well before today, when we don't have the opportunity to.
Yeah. No, I agree, but it is something that I just basically reminded myself. So yeah.
Is there an answer, Kelvin? Murray?
Yeah, I'll just check that out, but it certainly has been completed in recent months, the work. It was significantly funded by the developers of Farrington. It may have just been timing as to when the bills come in, when they completed the work.
Look, we'll look at it, and we'll take a look at this. It may be that it's actually the wrong description of the project, to just confirm what project it is. So yeah,
we're not going to spend the money twice just because we put it in here for a project that's already completed. Shane.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much, Kelvin, for all the work that's been put into this, and staff as well, and also councillors. I guess just sort of reflecting on the comments that we've had around the table, and as we look towards long-term plan, it's an opportunity for us to look at the infrastructure that we have, look at the condition and the opportunity to build on that, on the good work. And whilst we've attracted a lot of growth, we've fastest growing district in Aotearoa, with some of the lowest DCs, there's going to have to come a time soon when we'll have to pay for the privilege of that in order for us to keep maintained, and especially the roads, to look after the district's residents for the generations to come. So I'm supportive of this going forward, but be prepared for the future in terms of the long-term plan. Are we also discussing, as Deborah's opened up that 120, I've got some questions on what page 128 and 131. Was that
You can ask
and it's I won't go into too much detail, but it's just page 131, community services and facilities. There are a number of funds in here for one of them is reserve contribution Ellesmere Ward. There's a lot of Ellesmere funds in here that I believe could be tidied up. Albie Anderson Fund, $7,000 there. The reserve, Ellesmere Reserve Fund that continues to be paid into in terms of a lease from the Gamble Estate. So moving forward, I think there's an opportunity to tidy a lot of those up as we disestablish some of the community committees, make a lot tidier, but still also allow for the community to be able to use those for community good. And perhaps that should be a report to Finance and Performance Committee.
Good point, Shane. And yes, a tidy up would be great. But councillors, you probably will remember that we did a review of these funds, and a request in particular, the Albie Anderson one, was go and spend the money if you want to go and spend it, otherwise it disappears. So the message back to would be identify projects which you think are of value, because these expire very shortly.
Yes, I see there's a withdrawal here on the line, the top line there. So potentially that has, or is that a question I need to ask?
Closing balance is zero.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, well, there's a number of them too. Sorry to carry this on, Sam, but there's a number of them that are zero, and I guess should they still exist, given that they are a zero fund?
If they're zero, they don't exist.
I guess, well, why is the line item still there is my question, but we can.
I think it's pretty, low level stuff in terms of how that looks. It's just looking at this as a couple of lines which are like that, which can be tidied up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. Any further questions? All those in favour that we adopt the annual plan for the year ending 30th June 2024, say aye. Aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. The next item on tab 13, that we set the rates for the year 1st of July 23 to 30th of June 24. Moved Deborah, seconded Malcolm. All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. Documents, that's, sorry, Shane?
Sorry, push the button late. I just wanted a clarification on the UAGC rates. I did read the line and I've mixed up my as it sits at the moment, I believe the UAGC can be set at a maximum of 30% of the total rates charged. What does it currently sit at? Is it?
It's the UAGC plus other rates which are common across the district, which don't have any differential, excluding some of the water rates on that point. The exact number I would have to provide for you, but it's in the vicinity of the high 28 point something and low 29s. So there's not much scope for movement.
Okay.
With the reforms to the water entities, we'll have to really reconsider how that works, because it causes grief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Look, I know I should know the answer to this, and I'm sorry, it is the stupid question that I've allowed myself for the day. On page, I'll give you a number, 192, and it's to do with the swimming pool targeted rates. Is that zone 1 is Rolleston, obviously, and then as it goes further out, the rate drops.
That's correct.
Yeah, I realise that. Sheffield and Springfield, which are obviously the higher, the pools that we're spending a lot of money on, are they just in that zone 2 at the lower targeted rate because it is of the proximity as opposed to the amount of money that's spent on those pools?
Yeah, so the majority of of cost relates to zone one being the aquatic centre in Rolleston.
Yeah.
So therefore, the greater benefit is felt by those closer to the largest spend. Yes, we do spend large amounts of money on those smaller district pools, but it's certainly not as large as what we spend on the aquatic centre.
That was the answer. Thank you.
Phil, the map's on page 198, which has got where the territories and the rates are split.
I understood that. It was the proportional of the spending.
Right,
That I was
okay.
Thank you.
That was moved and seconded and passed. Yeah. Setting of rates, registered of documents signed and sealed. Mover and seconder. Thank you, Calvin. Malcolm, Deborah.
No, because I just realised I might have a conflict with regards to certificate of approval, plan change 80. So please record me.
Deborah's Lydia a second. Deborah's taking no part in the conversation. Any further comments on the register of documents signed and sealed? All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. And now we move to the Chief Executive's report. It's on page 66, tab 10.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors. Very much a full information report today. So the management team will be very happy to answer questions if there are any. On item number 1, Tim will answer the questions. And number 2, Denise will answer questions on item 3. Tim on item 4. And I'll bravely step back into the breach for item 5. So are there any questions on any of those items?
Phil.
So I have 9 questions on item 5.
No,
nothing from that.
Shane.
Tēnā koe, David, tēnā rā tātou. On behalf of myself, Councillor Pearcey, Councillor Pat McKevity, Pat McKevity, Nigel Barnett, and Murray Lemon, we wish you all the best in your retirement. Take care.
Kia ora, Shane.
Kia ora.
Thank you.
I've got some questions, eh?
Yeah. I'm going
Actually,
to
one of the quotes I'll take from you, David, is before you accept tradition, challenge it.
absolutely
It's
do.
fantastic. Page 50. Has there been any feedback from the developers so far regarding the council approval on section 224 certificates?
So your page numbers don't line up with mine.
No.
So what item are you talking about?
You know the answers?
What's the subject you're talking about, Shane?
Yes. 224s. Has there been any feedback?
Yeah, Tim's boosting with information on that.
Okay. What is the financial? Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, through the chair. No, look, no, very little, if any, reaction to our change in process.
Well, thank you. The financial delegation of 100,000 for the head of capital works. How much has that increased by, and why?
It's a new position, Shane.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Page. Oh well, I won't even say the page. But all of the officers that we're moving here, obviously they're trained inadequately for this role.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
53. Just congratulating Councillor Giddon for her role as the chair of the Joint Settler Working Committee.
Yeah. So look, that's items. Are there any other questions on items 1 through 6?
Do some work. Thank you.
David has got some things to say, and so I want to just provide some space now for a bit of reflection. This is David's final council meeting with us, final days on Friday. And so David, there's things you'd like to share, and then there may be some stuff around the room that people would like to say as well.
Yeah, it's a really weird feeling. I keep looking around the room, and I was doing it this morning thinking, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. Today truly is the end of the road for me. And after 50 years in the workforce, I now have 2 whole days left to go in my working career. For the past 32 years, I've been immersed in the many and varied activities of local government. And I was just thinking about it in that time. I've attended countless council and committee meetings. I tried to work it out, but it won't be the right number, but it's in the vicinity of about 850 meetings I've attended over the years. But for the last 10 years, I've had a front row seat to the fastest growing and, in my opinion, best district in New Zealand. In the time that I've been in Selwyn, the population has almost doubled. The expectation on council on the volume of work that we're required to do is increasing, both at staff, management and governance level, has increased at a phenomenal rate, and that will continue at a very steep rate into the future. It's not going to slow down. And all of this is coupled with significantly increasing legislative requirements that are being placed on us all the time by central government. And I reflect on my 10 years around the council table. We've made a huge number of significant decisions on matters that support our fast growing community. I think of when I started here, actually, was the decision of the day was around strengthening of halls, earthquake strengthening. We did Ladbrokes, we did Springston, we did Sheffield. I think of the decisions to construct new facilities right around the district, Dunsandel, Taitat, West Melton, Whedons, and closer to Rolleston, of course, Tiara, Artia, the health hub over the road, the Selwyn Sports Centre, and alongside this, the phenomenal development of Foster Park over what was a lot shorter period of time than we originally thought it was going to be, and Kakaha Park as well. We've doubled the size of the aquatic centre, new cycleways that were constructed around the district over a period of time. I also reflect on the investment we've made in the infrastructure network to support our growing community, the pipeline networks, the extensive maintenance contracts, the upgrade of refuse facilities, and then the plan, policy and bylaw reviews. And in the last few years, district plan has certainly dominated that as well. We've also changed our focus. When I came here, the focus used to be on 23 individual towns. Now we're on one fast growing district, and we've introduced a number of targeted rates to complement that as well. Operationally, we've received a AA+ independent Fitch rating annually for the last 4 years, and that was no mean achievement given the COVID times that we were going through. Consistently receive unqualified audit reports. We've published a business continuity plan, significantly enhanced our relationship with Taumutu, in fact with Runanga generally. We're commissioned to Council Waiata, of course, that we proudly sing, and of course the recent organisational restructure to support the empowerment of staff and the response to growth. And also undertaken significant enhancements to refurbishment enhancements to the HQ building and also to many of our well-used facilities. And organisationally, we continue to enhance the wellbeing of our staff through development opportunities and welfare initiatives. And some years ago, we initiated the Young Professionals Group and recently formed a senior leadership team, should I say. And we continue as a collective to provide quality advice to council and to its committees. It was two frequent questions that I'm asked. One, you know the answer to, and that is what I'm doing next. The other one is, what are your highlights? What is your highlight? Firstly, it's not my highlight. It's not about me. Never has. I've never been one of those people who scramble to be in the limelight at all, but rather one who takes time to make sure we encourage and support our organisation and our staff. The highlights for me, I would sum up as firstly, the response that our incredible organisation has made to the demands of growth. And as I said in another forum this morning, everything is changing around us. And we've got to be cognizant of that. Demographics are changing, land use is changing, technology is changing, legislation is changing. And it's our ability to be able to collectively respond to that. The relationships that I've built with the Mayor, with elected representatives, management team, and with our staff, which have enabled us to achieve a phenomenal amount over the past few years, and also the employment of some phenomenal staff into this organisation who do an absolutely brilliant job and will continue to do that brilliant job in the years ahead to support not only yourselves as elected members, but our communities. I'm incredibly proud of this organisation, its management team, the staff, the governors. You all have the interests of Selwyn at the forefront of your minds, and you work tirelessly for the community that you serve. It's been an absolute privilege to be part of this organisation. I will miss my daily working life and the engagement with you all, and I just want to finish by thanking you for the support and encouragement that you've given me over the years, and I wish you all the best for a positive and productive future. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. David, thank you for what you have given to this council. I think that we should waiata that kōrero. Ko wai makareri ki te raki e, ko ora kaya ki te toku e, te wai hora e hora ake nei, ina te ora ka ona iwi e, ma waira e turima e maho mahaku matato e. Does anyone have any thing that they would like to add? And I've got a few words at the end.
Well, Sam, it's been a lovely 10 years, David. 100 days to 3,650 from the start. I've enjoyed every minute of the ride. We've had all sorts. We've had fires, we've had floods. We've seen fire, we've seen rain. We've seen sunny times when we could not find friends. But it's always going to be good to see you again. All the best.
Bob?
Yes, Dave, seeing you've only got 2 days and you've just said about all the good things we've done, what have we done wrong?
That's the other list. That's the other list. So I'm going to move that we receive the Chief Executive's report for information, approve the additions, agree to extend the appointment period for the trustees of Central Plains Water Trust. Is there a seconder for that? Thanks, Lydia. All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. And then there's one extraordinary item actually that I forgot to mention earlier that we need to add in here. And it's one of your favourite matters for discussion, David. And so this will be just added to our agenda. It's the Selwyn District Council Policy and Delegation Manual. And there's a governance policy that we are amending and inserting into the policy. This is an initiative, actually, no surprise to you that Deborah started this. Deborah, thank you for it. Chief Executive Officer's Retirement Policy. The Mayor and Councillors of Selwyn District would like to thank you for 10 years of excellent service to our council. Your encouragement to us to improve our governance skills by organising Institute of Directors, resource management and local government membership and training courses, and your leadership in promoting Selwyn Council as a high-performing governing entity to manage our district's growth and well-being. Contact for further information about this policy is just at your discretion. The delegation is to the retiring Chief Executive and enables you to relax, put your feet up and enjoy your retirement with family and friends. It's set as of today. There's no review timetable for this policy. It's moved by myself and seconded by Malcolm. All in favour say aye. Aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, everybody. Thank you very much.
It's good to acknowledge good work and thinking about next steps. And it's actually hard to say it many times. You know, we've been in the space. This has been a week of farewells, and probably in a month of farewells for you, David, in the different spaces that you've been. But we do really wish you all the best, and that you have safe travels. And that when you come back, we'll no doubt touch base with you again, living in this town, whether it's formally or informally down at Robert Harris on morning tea coffees some morning. So yeah, all the best.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Very much appreciated.
Now we need to move to public excluded. I'm just circling back to make sure that the matters raised in public forum, the driver's licensing, we'll support that with a letter. I'll talk to Mr. Palmer, and our staff will continue to work with him. Is there any further action that we need to take on that? Good. And the presentation on the walking festival was just a presentation today. Good, so that closes off that as well. So resolution to exclude the public. Thanks, Mark and Nicole. All those in favour say aye. Anyone against? Declare it carried. And let's adjourn the meeting for 10 minutes and we'll come back and resume in public excluded. Thank you.